Okay, guys. Good evening, Tanay and Dhananjay. We have two very special guests today. As you can see, so Tanay is next to me on the screen. He is a representative of AC Milan India. So he's a Milan fan. And we have Dhananjay, who's a representative of Juventus India. Now these guys very special about them. So ऐसे ही आपको Italian football के बहुत ज़्यादा fans नहीं मिलेंगे, and this is what we are trying to do. We are trying to get you to see people who have passions around other leagues as well, apart from the Premier League or the La Liga, which are the more popular ones. So we want to share their passions with you guys. And very interestingly, both of these guys have gone and seen their teams play in their respective home grounds. So Tanay, I will start with you because you've been to San Siro for the derby. How can you describe the experience to the people who are watching this?
Definitely one of the most exciting events in my life, and also one of the most excruciating, because, like I was telling you earlier, Inter took the lead twice, we equalized twice, and then we conceded a penalty in, I think, the 92nd minute, which Icardi converted. So we lost
Tell me
3-2.
one thing, was it a home match for Milan or was it a home match for Inter that day? And how does it work? Because I have always been confused, the same home ground. How do they issue tickets? How do things happen?
So so let me kick off with a very interesting story of how I got the tickets in the
Yeah.
first place.
Yeah.
So because it was an Inter home game, the allocation was mainly for Inter fans. Milan fans uh, could only get tickets for a certain section of the stadium,
Yeah.
and because we had to coordinate flights here from India,
Agreed.
everything revolved around getting those tickets. So what I had to do, not my best star, not my finest star, but what I had to do is get an Inter supporter card. uh, I bought the tickets using the Inter supporter card.
And you were in an intersection?
Yeah, so the section is technically open for all, but yes, it was open to Inter fans first. So the tickets typically get snapped up there. But in Milan, the thing is that the rivalry works very differently from, let's say, an East Bengal Mohun Bagan rivalry, or even say a
Although
Roma
Italian
Lazio
fans are
rivalry.
crazy.
Yeah, but in
Back in
Milan,
early 2000s, when Italian league used to be shown on TV, used to be flares and आग लगी हुई है कई सेक्शन में, कई धुआं निकल रहा है. It was
that वो होता है अभी भी, but in Milan what happens is that in the same family you can find people supporting Inter and people supporting Milan. So the one generation maybe Milanisti, the other maybe Interisti. So but back to how I got the ticket. So I went to the ticket counter and I had a
Milan
jacket on,
jersey on. Okay.
right? So I had to hide that. And as soon as I got the ticket, I and as when she was handing the ticket over to me, she said Forza Inter, and I said no, doesn't work that way. I took the jacket off and I said Forza Milan. So and the stares that I got, I had to escape very quickly. Let me put it like that.
Okay, so Dhananjay, coming to you, how does it work in Turin? Because I think Juventus is like the macho over there when it comes to Juventus and the other team Torino over there. So, who are UA's biggest rivals when it comes to Italian football?
Well, I would, yeah, to me, I feel like traditionally when I identify the league, back in the day, I'm a fan from the 90s.
Yeah,
I started supporting Juve in 95.
and not
And
just you, your brother as well, and probably more people in your family.
yeah, my brother, he came in a little after me, 2 or 3 years later. But yes, I was obviously influential in his choice of club. There was a pool to pick from because at the time Milan were really strong as well, as was Inter with Ronaldo. And however, over this period of time, 25 years or so, for me, traditionally, when I look back, at that point, there were the Seven Sisters. But when I look at it traditionally, to me, I do equate Juve as a seriously big club, but I feel the same way about Milan. To me, they are the only other temperamentally big club as far as the Italian league goes. I feel like we have this big rivalry with both Milan, with Inter, more recently with Napoli, who unfortunately, with due respect, still have a very provincial mindset, with
True.
the way they approach the league. It really is a history that doesn't show much in terms of success, unfortunately.
Hmm.
I hope that changes, with the
Do you
coming
hope
years.
that changes? Because if that changes, I mean, it will. Juve will have to lose if Napoli has to win, right? So I
No,
don't think you.
it's not just Napoli, Sunit. I feel like any league competition is always welcome. It's
Hmm.
really important from a perspective. I'm a huge Italian fan.
Hmm.
From the perspective of the league, it's really important. It comes back to Milan, comes back to what they used to be. Inter, to a lesser degree, of course. They also have a certain tradition. Uh, Conte going there, I wasn't most happy about it. But if there's anyone who can help them win, it's Conte. It's important these guys come back to the pedestal they once held, because it
Italian
pushes
football,
the
yes, it
it
will be an
pushes the envelope.
advertisement.
It pushes the envelope for Italian football. It pushes the
Agreed.
envelope for Juve. That means Juve can't be resting on their laurels. You need to be planning even faster ahead of the curve. So it does everyone a world of good. I think the Serie A, thankfully, because of what has happened, the imbalance we've seen in the last decade with Juve absolutely dominating. It's not really the personnel, that play on the pitch.
Hmm.
It's the thinking of the club. It's how forward thinking they've been with the stadium. It's how forward they've been with the brand and marketing that has happened, off the pitch.
Agreed.
Also, most importantly, because of the divide between Juve and the other clubs, there's a lot of youth now. That is, all the clubs have no option. They can't beat Juve with the revenue, so they have to invest in youth. And
Agreed.
and for Juve, they realize that they can't keep an aging squad around. Even they have to invest in youth, which I think is a massive plus all around.
Agreed.
And I'm always for whatever. You've got to win on the pitch, and you've got to do it with competition. Of course, I feel this year competition has upped. There is a gap. Juve is in a little bit of transition, not just with Pirlo, but also the youngsters that they've brought in. And
True.
this should have happened about 2 years ago. It's happened better late than never. I don't peg them as while, of course, the decima is important. I don't peg them as clear favorites this year. I think Milan have a bit of momentum with Pioli, though I
Oh,
think
is
they
it?
lack a.
So,
Yeah,
so
I
you
think they
feel
lack a
that
little bit of.
Juve won't have it very easy this year? Probably there's a chance you may not even win the title this year, is what you are suggesting?
If I was speaking conservatively, I think Juve always find that extra gear. However, I think this year is probably the trickiest of the last decades.
Great day to
Conte.
have the both of you actually, because right now the league is so well poised with, yes, the two of you, AC Milan and Juventus, being the leading title contenders this season, along with
Oh,
I
I
would say
I would
Napoli
put
as
the
well.
I would put the brakes on that, Sunit. I don't consider Milan to be contenders. To be very honest, I think
Last
a
time
Champions
Chintan
League.
was here, Chintan was the president of AC Milan India, and he was also, even after the unbeaten run, चलो आपका भी कल draw हो गया, पर वो time पे तो all matches were won, and he was still नहीं, I will be very happy with top four. Are you guys downplaying it?
Absolutely. No, we aren't. But let me also say that as a fellow Serie A fan from the late 90s, I'm absolutely with him. In European football, in the Champions League, in the Europa League, I always end up supporting fellow Serie A clubs, which is
Agreed.
sacrilege in some quarters. How can you support Juve? How can you support Inter? But I mean, that's the way it is. I have a soft corner for Napoli as well. But I think what a lot of people outside Serie A fans don't realize is that the league, even when it was dominated by Juve at the top, it was always competitive right below that.
Agreed.
So a lot of people simply see that, oh, Juve wins the league every year. Bayern, it's just like Bayern. It's just like PSG. Doesn't work that way. If you look at the Champions League places, if you look at the emergence of a small club like Atalanta, you look at how Sassuolo plays. But unfortunately, when you still speak to a lot of, let's say, Premier League fans, or to a lesser extent, La Liga fans, they still have an age-old, let's say, misconception that Italian football is still defensive. It's just dominated by Juve, and I am happy to see the change at the top. But to anyone listening or to this or watching this, I would only like to say, just give Serie A shot for a year, and let it change your mind. It's not as uncompetitive as people make it out to be.
I mean, last
Even
couple of years, it's been very close at the top. Like last year, too, there were 3 or 4 teams, into it until like the last 2 or 3 game weeks.
Yeah, so Lazio absolutely disintegrated after the
The
COVID,
break, yeah.
the restart, and Atalanta lost crucial games. Their draw with Juve, a very contentious draw at the end, played a big part. But again, Napoli had an off year last year, and they look really strong this year. They may be dark
With the
horses
kind
for
of
the
transfer
championship.
market that they've had as well, getting Victor Osimhen and keeping Koulibaly as well. So the
Yeah.
Yogesh, who's from Napoli, and he was there the last time, and he was absolutely bonkers. He was like, this transfer window, Napoli has the biggest transfer in terms of the fee paid for a particular player. Dhananjay, how happy are you with the transfer window for Juventus? I mean, when Messi handed in that transfer request, I don't know, from somewhere I heard that Juve is interested, and I was absolutely excited that Ronaldo and Messi together would be so amazing. Uh, I mean, was it anything that was, छोटा भी चांस था उसका या कोई चांस ही नहीं था वो चीज होने का?
Suneet, it remains a hypothetical question. I heard, there were some sources that I follow a lot of journalists on the inside also, and
True.
the inner inside talk was that Adidas was pushing for this move because Juve is an Adidas club,
Uh-huh.
and Juve would consider a move like this purely. They're not really doing it for what happens on the pitch. They're doing it largely for their brand integration in emerging markets.
Agreed.
And a move like it's unprecedented. I mean, you're seeing two goats, and I don't think we've seen that in any sport. Maybe Federer and Nadal coming together in a Davis Cup tie, but at best, or Europe versus America. But you're not, in pure football terms, this would be an unprecedented move, and Juve were in that position to kind of pull this off. Was I in favor if it happened? I personally would not be in favor. People
Oh, okay.
would call me crazy, but I think they wouldn't really mix. And also, you have to look at the commercial aspect. So, of course, great for the brand. How good is it for the youth?
Great for
Not
La
really
Liga
good.
as well. Sorry, La Liga bol raha hu.
Yeah,
Great for Syria as well. Being a
absolutely.
great advert. Okay, so Yogesh is
Absolutely.
also here. I'm admitting him into the room. And yes, Dhananjay, can you quickly, take us through the transfer window that you guys had this season? Because, I mean, you got in a youngster from Barca,
Right,
Arthur, and you
right.
let go Janet. I don't know how to pronounce Janic, or you know. So
Pjanic.
yes,
Pjanic.
and now you have some youngsters. You have Perlo at the helm, who's now the coach. How happy have you been till now for this season? And before that, Yogesh, welcome. Yogesh, you can unmute yourself
Uh,
and you can switch on your camera as well. Yes, Yogesh, we've already started recording. Yes, and great to have you. So I'll come to you. Let me just get an answer from Dhananjay first. So yes, Dhananjay.
So, Suneet, for me, like I was saying earlier, I feel like this was 2 years in the making. It was much required. To a lot of people on the outside, this looks like, in many ways, Juve is winning. So, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But, as a fan, I can tell you, I've watched every game every weekend. And I don't know if Tanay has really followed Juve or Yogesh, but I can tell you we were laboring to victory. It's largely that the divide was so big that Juve, managed to get it across the line. But in terms of pure imagination, identity, we were lacking that in on many levels. The key reason why Juve has struggled in Europe, even with a guy like Ronaldo,
Hmm.
is you don't have the youth and you don't have the legs around him.
Hmm.
Pjanic, I think it was time 2 years ago, to move him on. There's two things you have to, factor in. One is motivation, because it's not easy to keep winning even as a player. You have to integrate yourself to keep winning. That's what these players were struggling with. And also the second aspect is, the legs. Juve was one of the oldest squads in Europe. It's very hard to compete against youth when you're going so deep across three competitions, over a certain amount of time.
Agreed.
And I think that's from that perspective, I'm really happy.
You're very happy with
Which
what
is
is happening.
no,
Although
I'm
as of now
I,
in the points table, Juve is slightly behind the leaders, but you
No,
feel that
Sunit.
there is a
No.
chance that
But
it can be
again,
covered.
sorry to cut you there, but the issue really is that this transition year was meant to happen 2 years ago.
Hmm.
Better late than never. It's really how quickly the youth kind of come in. But for the first time in about maybe 4 or 5 years, we're legitimately building something. In terms of a cycle. So these guys, you have to give them the time to blood the youngsters. If they win this year, great. If they don't, I don't see why they shouldn't be given the continuity. You know, that's how you're going to build another dynasty. That's how you're going to build another 5-7 year winning cycle.
Last time we
You
had
don't
such
want
a
to.
conversation. We majority of us felt that uh, Perlo came into the role slightly early than what it should have been. Probably another season or two, probably more experience somewhere else. But you happy with again his
Well,
appointment?
again, Sunit, it's very circumstantial. We have to take into account there was no planning after letting go of Sari. I feel like Sari had kind of disintegrated as an authority figure in the eyes of the dressing room, and
Hmm.
this hard call had to be taken, even though he won the Scudetto.
True.
Pirlo at that point was appointed as the junior coach. Let's keep in mind Sari's termination meant we had to continue paying him his wages. We were hit with COVID. Money is a huge issue. From what I understand, Agnelli's key, primary coach preference was Zinedine Zidane. That conversation obviously didn't come to fruition because there's a certain wage factor involved. Zidane is bound by contract to Madrid at the moment. It was too complicated. So under the circumstances, they promoted Pirlo. Is it too
Right.
early? I would tend to agree, but
Hmm.
I think a guy like him, he's very similar to Zidane.
Agreed.
He's been there. He's won across. He's won at Milan. He's won at Juve. He's a winner as a player. He's a champion player.
Hmm.
These people don't really. I don't think they need time to integrate. They know what it takes. It's just DNA. He's now in a
Amazing.
in a club that has a DNA. He's a player with the DNA. It's really. I happened to ask Chesney a question on live TV on kickoff.
Hmm.
The question was, is Pedro really a tactician or is he a man manager? And you notice, all these big guys like Zidane, Pirlo, Nesta soon, Gattuso, all of them are man managers.
Agreed. Yes.
They don't really need to coach. When you've got the kind of players you do, you just need to bring them together. You need to manage their egos and you need to make them play as a unit. You know,
Very interesting, because at this point, while we're talking about youngsters, Tana, I'd want to come to you. There's this one perennial youngster that you guys have right now, scoring goals at will. I mean, what's up? I mean, this is so amazing. I just love watching AC Milan play because Zlatan is playing over there. Uh,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
are we very dependent on him? I don't feel so, because I feel there's so many great youngsters coming up. There's Kessie, there's uh, Tonali, and so many interesting players at AC Milan. So what is your take? Is it I mean, is Zlatan going to be there for a long run, because he's already, I think, 37 years of age? How's
39.
the squad? Yeah.
39. And also, just a bit of trivia. He has played 3 matches in Serie A this season, and he has scored 2 goals in each of them.
Yeah.
So, which hasn't happened in quite some time as well. So, you're right. We are dependent on Ibra, but at the same time, that was required, because if you look at the team and how Milan have evolved over the last maybe 2 to 3 years, we have stockpiled a lot of young talent, but that young talent also needed leadership, and they didn't have it. We bet on Piontek as a forward, played very well for half a season, did at Genoa, played well for half a season with Milan as well. But then he can bring goals, which may or may not be consistent in that, but he doesn't bring leadership. So I think the January window, where we brought in not just Ibra but also Simon Kjaer um, as a center back,
Yeah.
these two signings made a lot of difference, along with players getting used to Pioli's way of coaching.
Right.
So we needed that. We are okay. In fact, as
Okay, Tanay, you've kind of stuck, I guess, some network issues, I think. So while Tanay comes back, let's move to Yogesh. Yogesh. So Yogesh had some trivia. Okay, Tanay is also back. Tanay, I'll come back
Yeah.
to you first. Yogesh se baat karte hain. We'll talk about this weekend's matches first for a brief. Yogesh had a trivia he shared with me today. Yogesh, would you want to tell people about these couple of players?
Hey guys, I'm Yogesh. I have an Italy jersey, but I'm a Napoli fan. So the
Yes.
trivia is regarding the two Insigne brothers playing against each other and both of them scoring. So that's never happened in the history of Italian football. Roberto Insigne is the
Roberto.
Yep. Roberto Insigne plays for Benevento. He's on loan from Napoli, and he scored quite an interesting goal. It was a very good goal. And he scored first. Napoli went down 1-0. Then Insigne, being the bigger brother in the room, on the field, he was already, the way he was playing, I mean, like, you could feel he was in mood that day. So he was already having like that flair, which like usually when there's not enough motivation, the flair goes away from his game.
You
But
must be super excited, Yogesh, with the form that Napoli has shown this season. I mean, unbeaten. I mean, obviously, apart from the cancelled match, unbeaten in the season, again amongst the title contenders. Although Tana is saying कि AC Milan को आप थोड़ा over कर रहे हो, इतना ज़्यादा बोलो नहीं. Let's just wait and watch. And Dhananjay is saying on the other hand कि this season is going to be very competitive and Juve is going to have it very difficult. Probably they may not even
Both
win the league.
both aren't mutually exclusive, Sunita. I'm just saying Milan will not challenge Juve, but Juve will be challenged.
Okay.
Probably by
Amazing.
Napoli.
they were challenged, they just defend. They never challenge.
So now some banter coming in. So Yogesh, tell me one thing now. This season, obviously, Napoli is not in the Champions League. So do you think the focus is going to be like very much on Syria and
Yes.
getting the league in the hand?
Yes, so there's a precedent, and very interestingly, the precedent is of Antonio Conte's first season at Juventus. In a very similar way, Juventus the season before that had finished seventh. I don't think so. They were qualified even for the Europa League back then, and they just had Serie A to play for. There was huge discontent in the team. It's kind of similar with Napoli. We finished seventh. There's a huge discontent within the team, and what league and the fiasco that happened against the Juventus, that just added, and the -1 sanction and the ongoing talks about it, they are just adding fuel to the fire. So I'm like, Juventus had that fire way back in 2010, and they
Right now, you guys have that fire with the decision going against you as of now.
Yep, Juventus proved their point back then that Calciopoli was something, but there was some genuine footballing talent in the club. They proved that they have steamrolled the entire league for the past
But
decade.
coming to the officials, coming to the way things are happening, and I would want to take Tana and Dhananjay, both your views as well. First, Dhananjay, I'll come to you. I mean, is Syria being slightly mismanaged?
Obviously,
Suneet, unfortunately, Italy is a really old country, and I think a lot of the systems they have in place, the red tape, the bureaucracy, it tends to, in many ways, it's very haphazard with the way things are run. You would expect a more professional outlook. The rules have to be the same for everybody. Citing just what Yogesh was saying earlier about, I didn't like how the federation was handling the Napoli Juve case. The week prior, Torino and Milan, they had COVID cases. They played, so
True.
the same thing, just off the bat, straight off the bat, has to apply. Juve a week later had two cases in Ronaldo and McKennie. They played. There's just we don't need to make a mountain out of a molehill, and I think from that perspective, the league kind of needs to just lock down and be very disciplined. This year also, whether we look at Napoli, Roma, Milan, Inter, Juve, we all have to factor in. It's going to be a very, very unpredictable year from a COVID perspective. Let's keep in
Agreed.
mind the second wave is coming.
Yes.
You have a 5 sub rule. The depth is going to be important, but there's also a worry now if the season will finish. They've already deferred the Euro to next year.
True.
So that concern is a very legit concern. And
Do you
keeping those
think there
things
will be some issues again? Because I think again some European countries are putting in restrictions and going into lockdowns. So do you think football will again face some issues, or now that they know or they have been kind of trudging along, they will keep going all these leagues, especially Italian league, obviously the one we are talking
Well,
about.
there are rules in place. I mean, yeah, you have a fiduciary isolation bubble. If somebody, tests positive, they've got the swabs happening daily. So yeah, all of it is in the interest of finishing the league. Of course, it really comes down to how drastically COVID sweeps across, clubs and players. Like if what happened to Genoa, which was essentially a wipeout. If I remember, there were about 18 players that tested positive. You
Agreed.
can't afford to let that happen to teams like Juve, Milan, Napoli. If you're playing across two or three fronts,
Hmm.
it is going to affect the schedule in some shape and form.
Well,
Agreed.
you can already start seeing some changes, Sunit. So yesterday's game between Milan and Roma,
Hmm.
it was supposed to have 1,000 fans at the
Spectators.
stadium, but they weren't allowed because the rule changed on the spur.
Hmm.
Um, the Milan keeper Gigio Donnarumma, everyone knows how important he is to us. Um, Tested positive, could
And
not
if he
play.
was there yesterday, probably the result would have been slightly different.
I wasn't mentioning that, but yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, there's a huge drop in quality from Donnarumma to Tatarusanu, who's our backup goalkeeper, 34 years old,
True.
signed from Lyon this
So,
season.
so, so while I was talking about the officials and all, and I wanted to touch upon it, taking into account yesterday's game. I mean, horrible refereeing. I saw the game. Uh, I don't know whether the others saw it or not, and I'll come to that. Whether you see other clubs in the league playing as well, but Tanay, I mean, what was your take? I think he just screwed up a lot of things during the game.
Do we have enough time to discuss the refereeing? Is my question to you. So, I mean, absolutely horrific refereeing yesterday.
Do you think
Um,
the result would have been different if
no,
the
so
refereeing would have been, because he gave one each to both the teams, I guess.
yeah, but again, it's not just the penalties. He just mismanaged the game. There were penalties that could have been given that he didn't consider. Instead, gave a yellow card to the person who was protesting,
Yeah.
Ibra, in one such case that I remember. Um, but I personally think that, I mean, as a Milan fan, I will not put this down to the referee's performance necessarily. I think if you're if you take the lead thrice, you have to maintain that lead. You cannot concede an equalizer three times.
Agreed.
And in the manner that we conceded, we all three goals were conceded from set pieces last
Mm.
night. So, I mean, horrific performance. The FIGC should definitely look at that. The Serie A management needs to look at the refereeing, maybe suspend Giacomelli if need be. But I won't put the result necessarily down to that.
Okay. Okay, amazing. So, pretty interesting season happening this one, and I hope it goes down to the wire, like all of you are also expecting. So let's now come to how fan clubs in India have been evolving around Italian football, because you guys represent individual fan clubs, and Dhananjay has been following, Tana has been following since the late 90s. I think Yogesh probably has started following later, somewhere in the late 2000s or early 2010s. So let's one by one talk about how you fell in love with Italian football, because generally when a person starts watching, unless you're a fan of the Italian national football team, it's very difficult to kind of start with a Serie A. So, was it the case for you that you started somewhere else and then you came to Serie A, or did you like start watching Serie A itself and fell in love with the club? So, Yogesh, can you tell us how you started following Napoli, and how you then went about uh, trying to find similar fans and making a fan club?
Yep. So I clearly remember the one of the earliest football games that I ever watched was the Brazil's 2002 World Cup final.
Uh-huh.
That was a mesmerizing game. And after that, I'm like, football didn't came on TV, and I was not also old enough to watch TV on my own. So the next game that I watched was probably the Italy finals in 2006. So that was that was a legendary game, one of the most unique games ever. So I'm like, I thought France would be something, but Italy was something. Italy kind of called me, and after
True.
that,
So that is where you started following Italian football.
and there was Kaka at that time, the AC Milan. I'm like, but they were big clubs, but I'm like, I didn't want it to go sort of in the big boys league. I wanted some rebel kind of player team over there, and
So you started with Serie B.
Serie A was those were the days of Calcio Poli. Serie A was not safe enough.
Yeah, I mean Napoli was in Serie B in those years as well. So
I didn't know about Napoli, I mean, like back then. So in 2010, around, so Napoli got on the big stage when they defeated Manchester City, and the three tenors came in, Hamsik, Lavezzi, and Cavani. So that was
right.
the one. That was the, I mean, like, sort of the hook that I was looking for.
What was the case with you, Tanay? Like, how did you happen to fall in love with AC Milan?
So, firstly, my mother happens to be an AC Milan fan, as surprising
Oh.
as that sounds. Now, I don't really know the reason behind that. It can be something as vain as Maldini was the most good looking man on the pitch. I don't know. Uh, but I mean, it just, apart from that, of course, the World Cups is where most of us started watching football. I always knew that my mom's an AC Milan fan, and I always heard names about. I mean, even back to Italia '90 when the World Cup was held in Italy, names such as Donadoni and Shilachi. So this was household conversation for me. I'm a Bengali, so football runs in my veins as well. So somewhere I think it just came very naturally to me. And
And any other
yeah,
people in your family also follow football apart from your mother? And which clubs do they support? Something I
everyone
want to know. Yeah.
everyone follows. So we are again. So in India, it's the family is divided between East Bengal and Mohun Bagan. So my side happens to be an East Bengal side.
Uh-huh.
Um, and my father did not support a club. So he was mainly, like many Bengalis, used to support Brazil or Argentina for the
Yeah.
longest time, only during World Cups. But lately, he has taken a fancy to Guardiola's Man City. So he's
Uh-huh.
suddenly, after all these years, evolved into a Man City fan. So I wish them well as well. But apart from that, my brother used to be when he was studying in the UK. He used to be a season ticket holder at Manchester United, a club that I despise with my entire being. Uh, but apart from that, I think it's mostly national teams rather than clubs that people follow
True.
back home.
Let's
But
see what
yeah,
Dhananjay's story is, because Dhananjay's story also I feel would be very interesting. Dhananjay
No,
started, I think, earliest amongst all of us, I guess. So, and he's influenced a few people too. So let's yeah, Dhananjay, let's hear from you.
it's very funny. Tanay said it is about the World Cups. It's very true. I started supporting Italy in Italia '90,
Uh,
and it's really funny at the time. They were the home country, so of course there was a lot of fervor. You could see the passion, and I was a huge Toto Schillaci fan.
uh-huh.
Of course, that was also the year Baggio, Roberto Baggio, got his debut
True.
uh, in jersey number 15, and he scored this brilliant individual goal, and I was like, this is magical. And of course, it took another 4 years to see them in US in '94, but once again, both Dino and Roberto Baggio, they captured my imagination. Of course, I started reading up then, and I was. We didn't get to see much club football at the time, if you guys remember. We used to get this little show on Doordarshan. It was a Gillette sponsored show, if I remember
Uh-huh.
correctly, and it was just rounding up sporting action from around Europe. And that's when I started getting a few glimpses of clubs like Ajax, Juve, and on further reading, I realized Schillaci, Dino, Roberto, all of them had played for this club, and I was like, oh, okay, this looks really interesting. There was also a gentleman by the name of Gianluca Vialli. He's bald, and he had a lot of personality. And there was another gentleman we refer to as the Silver Fox, Ravanelli.
Okay.
So these guys were, star strikers at the club, and we had Baggio, and they had these amazing, beautiful jerseys. It was a blue and yellow, kit, Sony sponsored, and I just took a shine to just like my favorite players that I know of playing in my favorite looking jersey. This looks like my club, and one thing led to another, and I was fully in love with Juve once Del Piero emerged on the scene. it was just a passion that led to then watching them dominate in Europe. They were essentially, if you guys remember, the mid '90s, they were the
Yeah.
club of Europe. Essentially
In fact,
three
mid
finals in
90s
a
to mid
row.
2000s, I think Italian clubs kind of were more dominant than any other leagues clubs in
True,
Europe.
I
true,
think throughout the
absolutely.
90s, Sunit, in fact, late 80s to
Yeah,
90s, when with Saki's
Hmm.
Milan, uh,
Versace's Milan was brilliant to watch. It was so fluid.
Maradona's Napoli.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
And
All the
So,
clubs were in the reckoning, yes.
but
no,
I but I
absolutely.
have to
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, I no, I on a different note, I have to say, Sunit, if I didn't have the legacy option of following Milan, which of course, I mean, I loved Maldini. I took a shine to Kaká. I identified with Shevchenko, Pippo Inzaghi, etc. But the one club that I really, really, I mean, I'll stop short of calling it love because it will be controversial, but really like apart from Milan is Napoli. So if there's one city, so I
We
visited
talked about it the last time, Naples, yes. Yes, go
yes,
on, Tanay, yes.
and I visited the city in 2012, and
Uh,
coincidentally, Juve and Napoli were playing the Italian Super Cup final, I think, in Doha. So
uh,
it were in orders, and Napoli took a lead, I think a 2-0 lead, if I'm not mistaken, and they lost 4-2. And I could see the mood swings in Naples. And I have watched matches in Milan as well. I have observed the kind of fandom. I was in Rome during the Liverpool Roma Champions League semi final. I was outside the stadium, not quite inside. But what I saw in Naples is a totally different kind of passion. I've been to Torino as well, the stadium, but Napoli is just very different. It's a very visceral, a very raw kind of passion which you will not find anywhere. So just, I mean, a fist bump for Yogesh out there because that's Napoli is my second team as
So
well.
I was going to come to it as well. Do you guys also watch other, Serie A clubs playing, or is it just, कि Juventus का game है तो मैंने Juventus का game देख लिया and then I'm off to sleep. So how does it work, Dhananjay, in your case? I mean, how many Serie A matches do you happen to catch every weekend?
So, Sunit, I absolutely watch every Juve game without fail, no matter where. If I'm traveling, I will make sure I'm not traveling at that point. I will get a mobile device if I have to. I don't miss Juve matches, absolutely not. But I do follow a lot of Syria. I like Tanay was mentioning earlier, clubs like Atlanta and Sassuolo. It's brilliant to watch. They make great viewing, and I just love the fact that they're centered around youth. It's not just the Gasperini and Juventus connection at Atlanta. I think they have a genuine project, and it's beautiful to watch that come to life. They are the club I support most after Juventus in the Italian league. I cheer them on. If I was to lose a Scudetto, I would like to lose it to someone like Atalanta. I think they've done a brilliant job in the last few years. It's beautiful to watch in Europe. There's a bit of a learning curve, with their youngsters, but they play fearless, and I love that about them. Sassuolo have got a great young coach in De Zerbi, and I think he's doing a brilliant job with the players. All of these guys have like a project in place, and you're
True.
very keen to see how this project develops. It's so important, not just for the club, but for the league, like we were saying.
Agreed.
Of course, I'll always watch a derby like Milan Inter. Napoli, I have been watching, one off as of late. Because I like Gattuso's work. I like him as a coach. I'm not a big fan of the club president. I think he's a bit of a dramebaz, unfortunately. But I like the fact that they have a project with regard to the players they bring in. Gattuso is just he has that Milan culture. I feel like he will have a successful project at Napoli. It's very unfortunate that a guy like Ancelotti failed. He's one of my favorite coaches. So yeah,
Same here,
uh,
yeah.
it's worth watching. There are a lot of games now, like Tanay was saying earlier, there's a lot of competition,
Yeah.
even below what's happening at the top, and they make for good viewing. Unfortunately, with Syria, largely is it's not a made for TV product, because
True.
the stadiums are so old.
Yeah.
Now we don't even have fans. you're playing in like this archaic setup, and you're wondering, is it worth
Also, I
watching on
think
TV?
commentary plays a part, right? The English
Absolutely,
commentary is not as,
absolutely,
I would say, not as exciting as it is for an
absolutely,
EPL or a La
But
Liga.
it
absolutely.
is, you should have watched Serie A games maybe 5 years ago,
Mhm.
Sunit. So it has improved a lot since then. With Sony coming in, they have their own pre-shows now,
Mm.
post-game shows now, a dedicated panel of commentators. So it has improved. And in fact, there are a couple of very important developments regarding the league. So one is that um, Serie A, apart from the Premier League, now has the highest number of American owners, club owners, and they have brought in a very different kind of mentality. Uh, so as many as 5 North American owners out of 20 Serie A clubs,
Oh.
and a very different, a very modern outlook towards broadcasting. If you look at US sports, American sports, you can criticize them all you want, but as a TV product, nothing beats, I mean,
American
products
sports,
like
yes.
those.
Yeah.
And the second thing that they are doing is the league now has now is now negotiating with, um, I'm forgetting the name of the firm, but they are negotiating with a firm uh, to create their own entity, which will help them negotiate their own TV rights, etc. So a lot more money is expected to come in. Um, Plus, the regulations regarding building stadiums are now changing. In fact, the Italian Senate, or I mean Parliament, or whatever their version is, they have now made it much easier for clubs to build their own stadiums. Earlier, even now, clubs traditionally used to lease it from the local council. As a result, they couldn't make many changes to that. Napoli is a prime example of that issue. Um, and so all of these factors combined now should, in the next maybe 3 to 5 years, give a huge push to
Push.
how to Serie A's appeal as a TV product. So
And
fingers
on
crossed.
that, I would want to come to Yogesh. So I don't know if you guys know or not, but I was told by Chintan that Yogesh is like the de facto. He's Calcio India ambassador or president, you could say. Yogesh is running a page called Calcio India as well. So Yogesh, what do you feel? I mean, do you think, do you agree with Tanay? Like in 3 to 5 years, as a TV product, Serie A is going to be, much better, and hopefully more fans in India for Serie A as well.
I think within 6 months, not even 3 to 5 years.
Yogesh, what is it that you are seeing in 6 months?
So one of the things that I see is that La Liga, since it came on Facebook, it has lost itself as a TV product. So
Yeah.
that's I would say probably time will say, but it's a kick in their own legs.
Mhm.
And the entire Messi fiasco going on, I'm like, nobody likes to just watch EPL. I'm like, you always need a fresh something. And Messi doing his thing, and La Liga going on Facebook completely. So it's
Even Bundesliga now going off TV right now.
So I'm like, literally there's no competition for Serie A to grow. There's just EPL, and
But I
EPL.
think one major factor which will kind of get Serie A back onto the charts is going to be obviously the performance of Italian clubs in football. And this is my last segment, last 10 minutes on this. And because obviously there's a very big game coming up tomorrow. So Dhananjay, let me get you in quickly. And there's Juventus versus Barca. First of all, will Ronaldo be playing? What is happening? There's so much of doubt right now.
Well, Sunit, they have a rule. I think UEFA regulations at the moment. They will take a swab. They've already submitted it. The test results are awaited. If he tests negative for COVID, he's free to play tomorrow.
So do you
Of
think if he
course,
tests negative, he will be starting tomorrow?
100%, hundred
Okay, so,
percent.
so I'll just inform the viewers and everyone here as well. We've tied up with this fantasy gaming application called 12th Man, right? Where we are doing a mega contest tomorrow. All of you also can join. Whoever wins that contest is going to be getting a jersey of their choice. So he'll be shipping it to the address. So it's a 500 team contest. First time we are trying such a big contest. But yes, everyone can put in 7 different teams. So if you're not sure who's going to start, you can put in some variations and put in your teams over there. It's again for bragging rights. So I would love if you guys join me over there, because I'm going to put in 7 teams because I want to win that jersey for myself. So yes, Dhananjay, coming to you again. So you think Ronaldo, if he tests negative, will start? What
100%.
else do you think? I mean, I've also been surprised, or I mean, surprised or not, I don't know. But Paulo Dybala, I mean, how are things shaping up? Because again, so many news that he's not happy at Juve and all. So I mean, what's happening? You would be more aware, I guess.
Sudhit, he's currently in the midst of a a contract renegotiation.
Oh,
That's not something that will, take time to kind of come to pass. It will happen. It's just a matter of time. The last couple of weeks, he's been suffering with injury, and then he had a case of gastro.
mm,
So really, those talks didn't really progress. The little murmurs that were about him being unhappy was because he didn't get playing time in a game when he wasn't entirely fit,
mm,
which I think Pirlo is completely entitled to. He's now reintegrated into the team, so really no issues with Dybala as far as that's concerned. He should be just fine. I think we need to give him about a month, to find his rhythm again.
mhm.
So yeah, and he's also integrating. Keep in mind with a new striker like Morata, and he's got new wings around him. He's got the likes of Kulusevski and he's got
Yes.
Chiesa. So that
Very
is,
exciting young talents, I would say. I mean, I
they
had never heard about Kulusevski before this season, and suddenly he's onto the scene, scoring and assisting and all those things.
absolutely, absolutely, and I think that is the benefit with a manager like Pirlo. He's got no baggage when it comes to a tournament like the Champions League, which
True.
means there's no fear, there's no premeditated calculation in terms of whether a player is young or old or whether he has the experience or not. He just throws them in the deep end, and that's beautiful to watch because that's what you need in Europe. You need
Are
like
you
fearless
excited
football.
about tomorrow's match, Dhananjay, and what is your prediction for the game?
Uh, I'm not taking into account Juve's showing over the weekend. I
Yeah.
think they started off probably with not the optimized personnel. But I think if Ronaldo is playing and I think if Dybala is fit to play,
Plus,
we
taking
will
into
have.
account Barca losing to Real Madrid on the weekend, so that is again a
Right.
psychological thing coming in. Yeah.
Again, Barca and Juve in many ways they're both teams in transition. I feel like Juve have a little bit more, firmness in terms of a project.
Yeah.
Barca still, they're dithering a little bit in terms of where they are, where they want to be. They don't have that clarity. Messi, of course, it really comes down to his temperament. Also, at the moment, I don't know if you know, but Bonucci is he pulled up over the weekend in the game. So
Oh, thanks for
Chiellini's already,
informing. I'll change my team. I just made my team. I'll edit it right now. I've taken Bonucci, so he's not going to play
yeah,
tomorrow.
he may not. In which case, there will be a makeshift defense, which will feature the likes of Cuadrado, Danilo, and Demiral. Which
Okay.
I think is that defense is a little green against a team like Barca, but
Especially
I
with
think the
Ansu Fati in like
Ansu Fati
amazing form.
absolutely, absolutely
Okay,
he's the player
tell
to
me
watch.
five outfield players, Dhananjay. If you were to make your team, five outfield players from Juventus that you will pick.
Especially for a game like Barca.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
Especially for his fantasy team.
yes, for the fantasy team. Yes,
so
I'm taking tips from you, giving tips to all of the people watching as well. It's not just for me,
so
for everyone.
So I would have Arthur and Bentancur in the center of midfield. I would have one of Kulusevski and Chiesa on the right.
Okay.
Uh, I would play Dybala in the hole behind Morata and Ronaldo.
Okay. So you would probably select a Ronaldo, I'm pretty sure, a Dybala, a Kulusevski, and Arthur, and probably a defender. I would say, no defenders yet amongst the five players you said.
Absolutely, from the ones that are there that are available, I think Danilo has found some kind of identity in his new role.
Okay.
I think between Danilo and Demiral, it would be either one of those two.
Amazing, great. Now, before we leave, we have another 5 odd minutes, and Tanay and Yogesh, I'd want to come to you guys. Tanay first. I mean, it really depends a lot on how Italian clubs do in Europe, in terms of how Syria is kind of perceived in a country like India. So, what do you guys feel? How long until we see again an Italian club winning the Champions League?
At this stage, I think it depends on Juve, to be honest, because apart from Juve, so I mean the hard fact is that Juve have been carrying the Italian flag solely over the last maybe 5 to 7 years in Europe. No other Italian club has come close. Inter looked very promising in the Europa League last season. So let's see what Conte's ceiling at Inter looks like. But you're absolutely right, Sunit. Especially for those who don't watch Serie A, the only way Serie A will be able to gain more eyeballs is if they see Italian clubs performing well in the Champions League. To an extent, maybe the Europa League as well, but mainly the Champions League. So I think it rests on Juve, on Inter. Atalanta opened quite a few eyes last year. They surprised quite a few teams, almost knocked out PSG. So let's hope they can repeat some of their performances. Lazio won against Borussia Dortmund, again a highly regarded team to start the season. So I am hopeful, but to see a club win the Champions League, I am going to be a little tongue-in-cheek and say we'll have to wait until Milan comes back into the Champions League.
Yogesh, let's end with you, Yogesh. So Calcio India, when are we hitting the 10,000 mark?
Let's see. It depends if I would say if someone has to win Champions League from Italy this season, I would maybe quite controversially pick Inter to win it.
Oh, Inter is in the toughest group, you know. I support Real Madrid. Real Madrid lost against Shakhtar last week, and I am pretty sure now they are not going to slip up. तो इंटर के 2 मैच तो आपके चले गए, बचा हुआ एक ड्रॉ कर लिया पिछले हफ्ते.
Yep. But
Sunit, I'm sorry, there is no way Real are winning both games against Inter. I think you will see some Serie A solidarity here among the three of us on that.
Like if we have learned something from the past 2-3 seasons of the Champions League, it's that until the 90th minute has been played, anything can happen. So let's see. Atlanta lost first 3 games and then they went all the way. They went last season. So anything can happen.
Amazing. On that note, guys, it was so amazing to have the 3 of you, and I hope we meet soon. I've been waiting for things to open up so that we can have the Calcio again. Tanay stays in Delhi, but we'll try to get him back to Mumbai. You know, catch a flight, come in for the weekend, kick some balls with us, and let's see, the better team will win. So yes, at this point we will end today's podcast. I'd love for you guys to come again, where we again talk about Italian football in Europe and in general Italy. Thank you so much for joining in, the 3 of you, and thank you all of you for watching it as well.